Elvis at large here. We're here in a cemetery on the east side of it that has some of the oldest headstones. A lot of Civil War veterans are through here, a lot of military. But today we're here looking at the east side where a lot of 1800, late 1800s, early 1900s. This cemetery is a treat. If I can find the grave, one of the guys here, make sure I get the name right here, was Russel. John Russel. Now, a lot of people wonder, who's John Russel? John Russel was one of the three founders of the Pony Express. What was the Pony Express, you ask? That was the original mail service in the United States, way before they had planes, cars, tanks, ships, drones, whatever. They had a horse and buggy. The Pony Express is the original mail service for the United States. That's how they used to carry the mail. There's also a guy here named Peg Leg. He was the youngest member of the 7th Lewis and Clark expedition. He is also buried here. As you can see, look at the surroundings. Look at the way it looks. I mean, look at this. This is absolutely beautiful. I mean, look at this. I think I just found Clark over here. Let's go look around and see what we find. I don't exactly know where they were buried. I couldn't get the information. I'll have to look. We'll have to look around. But this is a beautiful, beautiful graveyard. Even then, Richards. I've heard that name before. I'm not sure, but I've heard that name before. Harley, Hanley. I've heard that name. And there's some names you probably recognize. I don't. But this is a beautiful, beautiful cemetery. Now, some of these headstones are quite old. They're really hard to read. But let's walk around. Let's go see what we can find here. December 27th, 1803, he departed this life. February 2nd, 1892. Dr. Honoro Martin, April 23rd, 1863, aged 56 years. Look at that. That's gorgeous. Now, I was told they're on the east side. Now, exactly where one of the founders to the Pony Express is, exactly, I do not know. I've been walking around the graveyard before I even started filming, and I've been looking. Might have to go to the other side of the graveyard. It might be over there. Lucky, I guess that's his last name, was born March 21st, 1814. He died September 28th, 1888. There's a bunch of Luckies here. October 12th, 1842. Died January 15th, 1897. 1877 to 1877, I assume that was a kid. But this one, ladies and gentlemen, I am interested in. Please read the date on that. Look at this. 1791 is when the person was born. April 8th, 1791, and died August 20th, 1868. Wow, this is a treat. Now, if I'm reading this right, which I can't read it very well, I think that says he was born February 1st, 1812, and died 18 something. I can't read it very well. This, and it's a massive graveyard. Don't think that this is me kidding around. This is one massive graveyard. It is big. This is just one side of the graveyard. There's a whole different side to this graveyard. A whole different side. I just can't imagine. I want to go read this one real quick. Look at the headstone. I want you guys to take a look at this. It's a big monument. It's a big monument. This right here, to me, is a secret. 1854. I will find his grave and I will show it to you guys when I get a chance. John Russel. I'll say it one more time. I think I found it. I believe it's right here. But it's so worn down I can't tell. Russ. Could stand for Russell. But it's so worn down. He was responsible for, him and his brothers were responsible for starting up the Pony Express. Now, like I said, the Pony Express was the horse and buggy, you know, that's how they used to deliver mail. They were the very first post office. Very first. And that's how they would deliver mail across the country. Now, here's an interesting bit of information for you guys that I found out today. They didn't just hire anybody. No, sir. They only hired orphans. If you were an orphan, you got a job. Young orphans. It was a dangerous job. Going through that territory with the Indians and the wars, the Civil War and the Revolutionary War, and with all the Indian wars, they hired young, strong orphan kids. That's all they would hire. And as they were delivering mail, a lot of times they'd get killed. So, rest in peace, Mr. Russell. Now, you could say to yourself, well, he only hired orphans. Yeah? But I can understand, you know, he gave him a job. You know, he gave him a job, gave him something to do. There's a mausoleum over here. Now, he gave him a job. Yeah. They didn't have no family ties. You know, they were pretty much expendable, I guess. But he didn't have to give him a job. I'm going to take a look at this mausoleum real quick. It's very possible he's in this mausoleum. Now, a lot of people didn't know where he was, how to get a hold of him. They didn't know where his grave was. Well, who told me was an older couple. But I want you guys to read this and weep. Who was born on April 30th, 1785, died September 15th, 1860. April 25th, 1777, and died on September 25th, 1839. That is absolutely cool. And like I said, I wasn't lying when I said this is a massive, massive graveyard. I am not lying. This is massive. I mean, look at the size of it. There's also a mausoleum over here, 1954, and it's locked. And a lot of times, I think you have to have special permission to go into them. I found some that are open, some that are not. It's a massive graveyard, which they keep it pretty much cleaned up. We're only going to take a quick look through. I don't want to leave my truck too long. There's a McDonald in here. I'm not going to say a word. I'll let you guys look his name up. McDonald. He was in the Civil War. That's all I'm going to say. Peg Leg Shannon, I think we went by his grave over on the other side. I think I went right by it. I hope I got it on camera. Was a member of the 7th expedition of the Lewis and Clark. We all remember the Lewis and Clark stories. The Nelson family. I'm good, you? So, where is, let's ask this guy right here, where is John Russell buried?
Like with the Pony Express, Russell?
Yes.
Follow me.
My audience wants to know.
Alright.
Now, this guy is right here. I'm sorry, let me. This guy right here, he works on the grounds of the cemetery. Yeah, I am a historian. I go around recording our history because it's being lost.
I get that.
So I go around, I record old headstones that are important to us. You know, this is our history, dude.
Oh, yeah.
This guy started up the Pony Express.
Yep, we got it.
Now, what do you know about the man? What's your recollection on the man?
I don't know anything about it, to be honest with you.
Now, I know I know that he started up the, that was the very first mail service. The Pony Express was the very first mail service.
This is everything we got on them. That's their stone. Like, you know, this is about the Pony Express. That's those, and then this is all his family, I believe, because there's these 5 here, there's 3 more over there.
Now, I'm going to tell you why you're asking. I'm a historian, I'm a photographer. A lot of these graves, these kids today, these 19, 18-year-old kids, this history right here escapes them.
Oh yeah, they don't
what the fuck's what the hell is a Pony Express? What the hell is that? Well, if you don't know, and you know, that was the very first mail service.
I didn't know anything about it until I started here, August.
They would only hire orphans, young men that were orphans, because back then they had only horse and buggy to carry the mail.
Yeah.
And they were going through territories, the Civil War. They were going through the country where Southern Iowa and all that with the Indian Wars, and it was rough back then. You didn't know if you could get scalped by a Cherokee or
if you're making it home or not.
So all they would hire was orphans.
Makes sense. Yeah, we just raised these up. All these stones were sitting in the grass.
I believe that.
So last September, October-ish. Actually, it's been closer to November. Pulled them all up. So they'd look a little bit nicer, but put them up on these footings instead. That way they didn't get, because there's a couple of them that were kind of sunk down in there. And
now it's all right that I'm here, and
yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Right now, that's all I got for you on Pony Express.
Now I think that one on that side is Peg Leg Shannon.
Peg Leg Shannon is
on that side, isn't it? I think I saw him over there. He was 16 years old. He was one of the 7th expedition members of the Lewis and Clark. Now, who's in the mausoleum?
That I don't know. We have nothing to do with that. That is the Methodist Church, I believe. Takes care of that. It's not even completely full. There's, I think, Jerry, the guy that usually isn't here, he's been here for like 2 years, but he's going to retire, so I'm his replacement. But he said that gets used every once in a while, like Memorial Day, just open it up. But Peg Leg Shannon, I'm thinking he was.
I swore I saw him over there.
See, now I thought he was sitting.
He could be over here.
I think that real tall, that real big tall stone.
The dark one.
No,
or the white one.
Past those flowers right there. I think he's right there, because I remember there was a lady that was in here about a month ago, and she's part of the Shannon family, and she was telling me about it. I'm like, hey,
now how much do you know about him?
I don't know anything about him. I have no idea.
Now I know
she told me that because she got some lots transferred to her, and
the lady at the Historical Society wrote this for me.
Huh.
Peg Leg Shannon, 16 years old. He was the youngest member of the 7th expedition team of Lewis and Clark.
Yeah,
I thought you'd like to know that.
I remember she told me something about it, because she goes, when I was transferring the lots over to her, she said something about Peg Leg. I'm like, what the heck is Peg Leg Shannon? She goes, oh, ask Jerry, he'll know about it.
I think he was in the Civil War and he lost his leg or something, that story goes, or he got in a train or an accident or something.
Yeah, because I think I had to Google him too, and it had a little story about him.
And he lost his leg, and that's why they called him Peg Leg.
Yeah.
He was part of the Lewis and Clark expedition. Now, who else is here besides these guys? I'm sure there's more famous guys here.
To be honest with you, that's the only ones I know that are kind of famous. The one other thing we got going for us is, see this cross over here on that other cemetery? So what that is there's about 450 colored burials over there.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's from about where that cross is straight back towards the fence. So, I mean, they're literally probably sitting on top of each other or right next to
unmarked graves.
Yeah, because all they had back in was
a stone or whatever.
Or not even a stone, just like a cedar cross or something.
And it's
so
with time is withered away.
Yeah, and we got made that cross for them, and we're in the process of getting a stone made to commemorate them. But we had to
they should be forgotten. That's another reason why I'm doing this.
Well, we had to go to, there's a colored church here in town, and I'm not sure where it was at, and we wanted to make sure we worded it right to where
they're not offended.
Yeah, because we had on there, colored burial spaces, and some of our board members were like, I don't think that's appropriate. We don't know, so we went and talked to.
Well, here's the thing: they were slaves, and not by choice.
Oh yeah.
And they had to bury their own, and that's where they buried them. And they didn't have millions of dollars like we did.
Yeah, they didn't have nothing. I mean, there's a few sporadic stones through there, but not very many.
This has been a treat. Yeah, the guy, her husband just toured me around the VFW of the mural they've got painted on the wall.
Oh, okay.
And that was absolutely insane with all the veterans and the plaques in there and all the medals in there. And
dang.
He let me photograph in there and let me...
One of my guys was leaving early.
Basically, let me photograph in there, and it was actually very cool. And he was sitting there, and he served in Vietnam, and he was telling me about the whole thing. And I was and then they tell me about this, and I had to come over and see it. I knew who he was, and I knew what the Pony Express was. I just didn't know they were buried here.
About it in school, but I never put two and two together until I started here. And Jerry kept saying something about Pony Express. I'm like, what the heck is a Pony Express? He brought me over and showed it to me. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the original mail service.
Yeah,
Now we've got planes, drones, USPS,
aliens,
FedEx, internet.
Yeah,
but back then, it's true, they would only hire orphans, young, honest, hard, good, strong orphan guys.
That way they could do the work. And,
if they died or something, I guess they wouldn't have no family that would.
Yeah, they wouldn't be missed. Sad as it is to say, that's about what they reason.
Think about it how you want to, but at least they get them a job.
Yeah, very true.
And a lot of them guys probably didn't make it going through the Indian territories. And we would, and the Indians and us, we didn't like each other. I mean, it was you guys, we ran you off the land first. I mean,
yeah, I wouldn't want to upset you any. I was like, yeah, I'm not going out.
Because I'm Indian, so.
Oh, are you? I didn't know.
And so it was you guys, we ran you off first. So I mean, if we had found some god-awful swampland, then you probably want that too, but...
Who knows? Back in, I'm glad I didn't look back in, because, man, it's horrible.
Well, now, dude, with all this coronavirus and everything going on, dude, have we really changed and gotten better?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so, if you ask me.
Wow, it has been a treat to meet you, sir. Thank you.
Not a problem. If you come back, so... crap. Are you around here anywhere?
No, I'm from Tennessee.
Yeah, crap. Of course. I was going to say, because the guy that I know more about where Peg Leg Shannon is for sure.
You said he's over by the flowers?
I believe that's where he's at. Because Jerry, the other guy that works here, like I said, he's been here 14 years. And he told me where the guy's at. But now he's off driving school bus.
Now, I take it that side's the oldest.
Yeah, so that's Palmyra Cemetery, which was from like 18...
I seen you got some headstones over here from 1755.
Yeah, that was from when Palmyra was first settled, or whatever. And then that filled up in no time, and they ran out of money. So then they turned around and came over here. They started Greenwood Cemetery, and that's what all this is up here. So technically, That's the city's. We take care of it. We do everything for it. But technically, that is the city cemetery from when they first started.
And this right here, private.
Well, this is just, it's an endowment.
So anybody can walk through here and look.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, not a problem.
Okay.
As long as you're not a troublemaker, we don't care.
Well, I got a camera. I might be in a troublemaker.
Well, no, especially. No, you're fine.
No, I show a lot of respect to these people. You rather you believe it or not, I wouldn't be wanting to disrespect these graves. I don't need to get haunted.
I don't know how much I believe on the haunted stuff, but there's one guy that used to work here that as soon as any inkling get dark, he was gone out the door. He didn't want to.
Well, I'll tell you what. There was one guy who was just like you that didn't believe it. He also does what I did, and there was a serial killer, and he decided to spit on his grave.
Well, no, that's just stupid.
So when he went home that night, well, before he even got home, his van quit. Then he had to go put his van in. There was nothing wrong with his van; it just quit. Then he was on his moped; it quit. And he said about 2 o'clock in the morning, he started hearing knocking at the window, and he thought there was somebody at the door. This is out in the country. He started hearing knocking, and then he gets his roommate about an hour later come up and said, "You knocking on my door?" He goes, "No, I've been asleep. Somebody's been knocking on my door." I do believe in it. To it, not like what you see some of these shows that are on there, you know, oh my God, there's one walking right there. I mean, you know, but I do believe.
I mean, if you disrespect somebody, I believe you're going to get.
You get what you sow, yeah.
Yeah, you reap what you sow. Yeah, I mean, all this right here, I have nothing but respect for these people. That's why you'll see a lot of those stones down over there. We're trying to find money.
I don't see you have too many vandals coming through here.
No, the cops come through here quite a bit because about maybe 10 years ago, people were in the very back of the old cemetery over there. They were dumping trash and having parties, sex and all that back there.
Messed up. How can you have sex at a graveyard, dude?
I don't know, but they were doing it. Well, there's one above ground vault sitting over there.
Yeah, I saw that.
Looked in there. I mean, when I first started here, I said there's nothing in there. Somebody's already busted it open, and you know what happened to the remains. But just because people
because a lot of them, they're false, and to be honest with you, a lot of them are buried under the ground. And they just put them there, they're like false.
Oh, I got you. False grave or whatever.
Yeah, and actually they're actually buried under the ground. They're not buried in there; they're buried underneath.
But yeah, everybody's messed with it.
And that's, to me, that's why we were losing these graveyards, this history, because these graveyards, this is our history, dude. This guy here, that was the very first mail service. If it wasn't for this guy, rather what you thought of him, there wouldn't have been a mail service if it hadn't been for this guy. Of course, we now know it is the U.S. Mail Service, but...
Yep. Sometimes they're not the best, but they didn't have to do what these guys did.
No. Notice to lose our packages everywhere.
No kidding. Yeah, we're trying to find money though to like all these stones over there on the other side of the Palmyra cemetery side where we want to get them all fixed up. But like if you were to buy a spot over here, you wouldn't want us taking your money, putting it over there and not over here. And if one of our board members, she's looked into getting grants and all that.
Yeah.
And to get a grant, unless you're a VA cemetery, she's like it's basically ridiculous. You got if you do one thing wrong, well, there goes all your money.
Yeah, I know.
So we're trying to figure ways to raise money to.
Now I take it that over there is your newest site.
It's our. Let's see. Our newest is very back. So I'm trying to think. I don't know.
I would assume them year 2000, 1999.
Oh no, actually, all from those two big trees, like where that big tree is. This way, it's all old stuff. That way, it's all of our. We call our new cemetery. It's stuff that's been around in the 60s on up. And then that.
Well, this guy right here,
yeah. Because they all have. This is like a family lot, so they inherited. Because there's one guy over here in Palmyra Cemetery. We buried him last year, 2020. But it's a family lot. He had a spot there, so he was we will not bury a full barrel over there because they were not putting vaults till like 70s, I think.
Yeah.
So before that, it's just a basically put a box in your coffin. And, I mean, it's nuts. I don't know if he's digging over there or somewhere. He was digging for a burial, and he sit there, dig, and hit bone. So he put it back. He called the funeral home at the time, wherever they was at. We got to move it. They're like, why? He goes, because there's bones here. And he goes, I'm not digging anymore around here. We had a burial last winter. This real tall pine tree way over there. We were digging that for a guy. Get down there and still don't think it was, but you can see like an arch, brick arch. Make a fireplace. Maybe a blacksmith back in the 1600s, who knows what, a house, something. We dug that, we hit it, and we're like, what the heck?
That's what the problem is with some of these graveyards. Like in Florida, they're knocking down headstones, building a house on top of the grave. It's happening.
I believe you. I'm not surprised, to be honest with you. I really am not surprised.
You know how many neighborhoods have found out there on Indian burial grounds?
Not around here.
Well, I mean, seriously.
I don't think so. I mean, the only thing I've heard of stories of, like, I'm a NASCAR fan, so Talladega was Indian burial grounds. They said it was for the longest
There
time.
you go. See, there's one.
They said for the
It
longest
happens all
time.
the time in Wyoming. They find out it's Indian burial grounds. They have. We didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't know how somebody can sit there and knock down his stuff. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't be able to live in the house and be like, no, I'm not going to sit there and live in a house. No, I can't.
It happens more times than you think. Because when you get these headstones from the 1700s, 1800s, they have a tendency to wear down, even concrete. After time, they sink into the ground and you don't realize they're there.
Yeah. But you would think with all the technology and whatnot, they'd be like, oh, well, this.
Well, yeah, back then though, but you got to realize back then, we had a regular blow-joe guy and had a headstone. They didn't have internet.
Yeah, that's true.
And they couldn't call. They didn't have county court records like we do now. So,
yeah.
Well, who was John Black? Oh, I never heard that dude. Well, yeah, he died in 1732. Who's he?
Ride's gonna be here at 4. Is that cool?
Yep, take it easy. Get out of here if you want. Oh, man.
It happens more times than you think that it happens more times.
It's crazy.
And then you get vandals that like to come through, like to go through, and especially the older cemeteries.
Oh, yeah.
They like going over, get vandalized in the graves, knocking over stuff.
Well, that guy that passed away over there that we ran into that brick arch or whatever, his nephew came here about a month ago. And he was looking for a family member, and he goes, well, I got this headstone at home. He goes, I think it's from when 50s or 60s, they were really bad at his uncle or somebody sit there, went and grabbed the headstone from here, took it home. After it was all said and done, whatever, wasn't doing it anymore. They had to do that something other way. I mean, we got one barrel over there, like it shows in our books, but there's no headstones because who knows what happened to it.
And then that stuff has a tendency to get lost.
Well, that's why we.
Another thing that happens, a lot of these funeral homes, they get abandoned because they get in trouble with whatever problems. And then they get these funeral homes get abandoned, they have all the records. And they get lost. And nobody knows that there's a graveyard there, so people decide to put a housing project there, not realizing it was a graveyard.
Yeah. Well, all of our stuff, all of our records are kept in a fireproof safe. And we're working on getting them all on a computer backed up. So, because before I started here, like even our maps, I said one day to my boss in the area, I go, what happens if this place gets on fire? I'm like, do we got our maps like saved on a file or something? He goes, no. So we took it down and took it to the guy that surveyed all of our new cemetery in the very back.
Yeah.
And he had a big enough printer or copier where he could sit there and copy our map, put it on a jump drive for us, and then we got everything on a jump drive. We even took what we had. We have a paper copy of that cemetery that's been behind a frame, and then it's been taken to like Staples, and they've made a copy of us, and we had that sit there scanned and put into a.
But you got to also look at it from this aspect. How many people like me are going to come out here with a camera looking around at graves?
Oh yeah, not very often.
Really,
very often.
all these people. How many people really come by and visit them?
Yep, not very often. I tell
So
you
they
that.
get forgotten.
Oh yeah. Well, we just had a guy. I put a whole bunch of pictures on our Facebook page. We just put all our, just make it showing how we decorated, got all our flowers up and everything.
Yeah.
And somebody's like, well, you need to put something up there for the Pony Express. And I'm like, once the grass gets greener around here, I'm gonna take pictures of it. We got a website. And I'll put a page up there for that. That
Yeah,
way they
because
know
listen,
about it.
I mean, look at this. I mean, you read that right there, that'll tell you everything who he was.
Yeah. Like I said, there's 3.
I
there's
assume,
more Russels over
that there's 3 brothers, so I would assume that some of these are their wives. I would assume that was one wife, there's the other wife, and I would assume this was the other wife, and I'd assume these are the children.
Could be. It could be. Yeah, I'm not sure. The way they
Because
are
there's
now.
names right there, but yet they don't.
Yeah, they don't match
exactly.
up. This is just for the Russell family, I believe. And the way these stones are sitting now is the way they were when we literally just picked them up, set them off the side, and then that way we could keep them in the same place.
Yeah, that's a good idea, and I appreciate what you guys are doing. I'm not the only one that does this. If you go to YouTube, I'm highlighting this guy, Sidestep Adventures. He's from Georgia. He goes to abandoned graveyards that people's forgotten about, don't even realize they're there. He's found gravestones from 1700s that was just left in the woods that nobody even realized they were there. The church burned down, or they moved on and just left it.
When I was a kid, going with my mom for like Memorial Day, putting flowers. I remember some of those cemeteries we went to. Like, you parked down here on the road, you walked up a dirt hill, and it was not taken care of at all. There'd be maybe 3 dozen burials there, and that's it.
It was really sad. He found this one cemetery. The church, the Methodist church, had it where they moved, and they were supposed to. And they're still paying taxes on this cemetery, and they just abandoned and left it.
I can do that. There's no way I can do that.
It happens all the time. Believe me. It happens more than you think.
I mean, I'm only 38, and I've already told. So when I take over and Jerry retires, I'm like, my 30-year plan is for all those stones over there to be fixed. And just finding time to get over here and set these stones or raise them up and stuff like that. You got to have some respect for these people. But the sad thing is, it comes down to money.
It takes money to run a place like this.
Yeah, it takes a lot of money.
This ain't cheap, dude.
No, it's not.
Because I know you got taxes, and you've got others, you got gas to keep in your mowers, you got weed eaters, you've got to keep it up.
I mean, we got weed eaters, we got tractor, we got bobcat. I mean, we got all this equipment.
Now, I assume that's the office over there.
Actually, this gray long building's the office. Years ago, that brick building over there used to be the house, the groundskeeper's house. But then, for whatever reason, the board decided, sell it. They didn't need it, and then now it's a restaurant. But I mean, it looks beautiful, just as beautiful on the inside. He's done a lot of work to it.
Well, I don't want to take too much more of your time up. I wanted to say thank you for
No problem, sir.
taking a few minutes to describe and tell me about the graveyard.
I wish I knew for sure where Peg Leg was, but
I'll go over and look by them flowers real quick. It won't hurt me, but yeah, man, that's why I do it out here, man. We need to catalog some of these older headstones, dude. If we don't, it's gonna be lost, dude.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
What's gonna happen in 50 years? I mean,
That's a scary thing to think of.
nobody's even gonna know who this man is. Never heard of the dude.
Yeah, that's one. I'm sure, like at Palmyra school here, I'm sure they talk about him just because he was from Palmyra.
They don't teach history like they used to, dude.
Well, yeah, that's true.
That old guy, that guy that showed me around the VFW, he told me on the way up there. He said they don't teach the history like they used to. They only give you, they tell you what they want you to learn about history. They don't give you the real history. They're giving you a false history. They're not telling you what really happened. So these kids are getting a missed idea of what really happened.
They're getting whatever somebody else told them, not what actually happened.
Yeah. So this story about this man has been so actually nobody really knows the real story behind Mr. Russell here, or his brothers, or were they nice guys? Were they jerks when they were alive? Well,
yeah, nobody knows.
And his wife and his children, nobody knows anything about them.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't know anything about them really until I started here. And I've
Now,
Googled them a couple times, and like in the winter when we're slow, I'd sit there and look them up. Now my next one look up is Peg Leg.
I would.
This guy.
Yeah, he was part of the Lewis and Clark. He was the 7th member of the expedition.
That's what that lady was saying. I can't remember her name, but man, she was telling me, like, well, that's kind of cool to play with somebody like that.
I dare hereby swear before the great living God that during my engagement and while I was employee of Russell Major's charge, that is so intoxicating liquors that he drank. One of them drank. That's what it's saying. The one was a drunk. And for employees that are firm and faithful in duties, and so direct my acts on my win the confidence of my employers, so I can help me God. Wow. Now this was dedicated in 1968. So this has been here since the beginning of time. Because it's steel, so I would originally imagine that was the original.
Yeah, that one that was leaning, when we set these up, we got some dirt and rock underneath that to level it off that way. 'Cause it was leaning and everything.
So I would assume that's the original.
I would assume so, yes.
And they just put this up in 68.
Yeah, because they did all of this, I think, the concrete around it and that base, which is seen in better days too. They did all that back when they did put this memorial up.
And so I'm glad somebody did, dude. I'm really happy that somebody did do this. Somebody needs to remember this. There's a headstone that's broken over there.
Yeah, it's sad to look around and see how many are broken, but
well, they weather with time. That's the other part of it. After 100 years, 150 years, dude.
Oh yeah, they go down quick. I mean, we got so many of them or even storms.
And if the graveyards have been abandoned for 20 years, and they're building, well, they didn't know they were there because there's no record of them, so they're building housing complexes on them. In Wyoming, it happens all the time. It's true. Look it up. You don't believe me? Google it. How many housing projects have been built on Indian burial grounds, like in South Dakota and all that, because they didn't know they were there. Because Indians didn't keep records like that back then.
Nobody did. Our records are scarce between.
And you really think Sitting Bull's going to sit back and tell you, well, yeah, we got a burial ground over there?
Yeah, he ain't going to say a word. He's going to be like, I ain't telling you where anybody is, 'cause I don't know what you're going to do to them.
You know.
I mean, yeah, our records, there for a little bit, like they was sitting there, they would write down what you died of, date, and all this, and then they kind of eased up on it. They just put you in the book, like where you're buried, but it's crazy.
Sad, dude.
It is. It's very sad.
Well, I need to go eat, and it was an honor to meet you, and thank you.
Good luck with everything, and hopefully that's what Peg Leg is.
No, I mean, I'm glad that I got to see this. There's another side to this. The Pony Express. Honor of William H. Russell, January 31st, 1812 to September 10th, 1972. He was a member of the firm of the Russell Majors and founders, owners, and the operation of the Pony Express. This marks his grave. So he's buried right here, or he's buried right there. Or that's his grave right there.
That could be him, where the metal one is, and then
That's what I'm thinking. That's his grave right there, and this is his family.
Yeah,
this is his children and wife.
Everybody around him, and
so that's John Russell right there, the metal one. That's what I'd like to know.
Yeah, I really couldn't tell you. Be 100%.
It says this marks his grave.
So I mean, I would assume yes that.
So where this is right here is his grave.
Yeah, I say he's probably.
So he's about right here.
That would make sense. And there's 3 there, and there's 5 on the other side. So yeah, that would make sense that he'd be like right here, maybe. And they support us on top of him that way I would assume.
1960 to 1961, and then it shows where they all went to. They went to Sacramento, and from St. Joseph to Sacramento is where it ran. And they were the Pony Express, and they'd hire orphan guys that were young and strong, knew how to defend themselves, to go from St. Joseph all the way to Sacramento, California, do all the military Indian territories and all that, not knowing if you're going to get scalped or killed when you were camping, or
they got bigger balls than I'll ever have. Plain and simple.
It was an honor to meet you, sir,
Yes,
and
sir.
I want to take off for the day, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Not a problem. Have a good trip home. Have a safe trip home.
Well, this is my vacation, so I'm going around different spots and seeing what I can see.
Well, enjoy it. And like I said, if you're ever up here again, hopefully Jerry will be up here next time, and he'll be able to help you out more. Because I know he's, like I said, in the wintertime we get slow, so you got time to...
Now, you sit right by this flowers. That's what I had heard, that he was over here by these flowers. So...
I was thinking... See, I was thinking it was up here or something.
Where? Show me. Sorry. Sanders. Shannon. Yep. There he is.
I mean, there's all these Shannons here.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, here's Peg Leg Shannon. But she didn't know his first name. There's Jenny Shannon, James Shannon. He was 16 years old when he died. So I would assume... Bet you that's him right there. That's him right there, I bet. This one's over 100 years. This one's 1885 to 1965. I can't read that one very well.
That one is George Shannon.
But I can't see the date.
1910 when he passed. 1819, 1847.
But anyway, some of you have to research this all for me. That's all I know, and I don't know if it's marked on the grave that he was peg-legged, or...
I'm not sure.
Then again, that could be
That
him,
one's
right?
20...
What's this tall one say?
Sure. Yeah, I'm not sure it's...
Because I would assume that this one right here would be...
Not on that side.
But...
Not on that side.
I'm employed the guy at the graveyard to help me. This is pretty cool. I actually have admired this, and this is really cool. Here's the Shannon family. The Foremans, they were in the Civil War. There's the Foreman family.
1836 is when he passed away. George Peg Leg Shannon.
Yeah, that's him right there. Which one was that one? George, it's right here. That's him. So there's George, the peg leg man. I know how he feels because I got 2 bum knees. And I got a bad back too, so.
Yeah, all the pictures on Find a Grave just show up here at the courthouse, the marker up there. That's for Peg Leg.
I would imagine this is it right here. It says George on it, so I would assume this is him right here. It would make sense being next to the major plaque right here. It makes sense that he's right there next to the plaque right here. But I really do gotta take off. Everything on it means you do.
Oh, man, anytime. I gotta go pick my boy up from school and roll the day.
I just want to take a picture of this real quick. And
All right, you have a good day, sir.
thank you. You have a good day too, sir. That was as cool as hell. That was as cool as hell. Ladies and gentlemen, I had a great day today. Go get my truck, go to the store, get me something to eat. And I know what you guys are saying. So I wanted to let you guys know we found all the graves of the people for John Russell, the guy that ran the Pony Express, the original mail service. We also found Peg Leg Shannon. He ran with Lewis and Clark. He was the 7th member of them. Pretty good sized graveyard. Over there, there's unmarked graves. I don't really want to get over there messing around because I don't know, one day I might come back and look at them when they get the markers up. They got ex-slaves over there. They were slaves that buried on top of each other. I don't really get too close to over there. There was a grave, a couple graves over there from 1755. A lot of Civil War through here. A lot of history through here. I think this day was the best day I've ever had in my life. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I have. This was dope. I am in a good mood. I got to tour something today that was absolutely amazing. This was wonderful. And you guys think to yourself, whatever. This right here is our history. Until next time, God bless you. I love you guys. See you in the next.